All right, there is the official introduction music to the Digital Attention Span podcast, because anything longer would be kind of ironic and defeat the purpose, right? So I am your host, Jack Mize, and on behalf of myself and my partner and good buddy, Brian Horn, I'd like to welcome you to the Digital Attention Span podcast, a show that's dedicated to helping entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals like yourself to grow your business in the digital attention span economy. So I guess the best way to kick this off probably is let's define digital attention span, at least as we apply it to small businesses, entrepreneurship, and creating content to attract new prospects and customers. So there was a study a few years ago done by Microsoft where they discovered that our attention span apparently has whittled down to about 8 seconds. And that's down from about 12 seconds from the year 2000. And they theorized that it was a result of our brain's ability to adapt and change. And it was really a side effect of the evolution of the mobile internet. Now, this report has some really good information, but a lot of marketers began to panic and they started just creating short content that they think, that's what this means. We just need to create short content. People don't have the ability to pay attention. And you saw an onslaught of really short videos and digital billboards that would change their ads every 6 seconds, and infographics replacing articles. Short content for short attention spans. It makes sense, right? Well, it's more complicated than that, and it can be extremely profitable for those that understand the bigger picture. So according to a binge-watching study by Netflix, they found out that subscribers who finished the first season of a show did so within about a week's time span. So these viewers are spending a significant amount of time, about 2 hours a day, watching these shows. Now, if you start paying attention out there on the internet and in social media, not just at the content, but look at what people are doing and how they are interacting with their customers and their prospects. If you think about it, TED Talks, they are timed precisely 18 minutes. Now, 18 minutes really isn't a long time for a deep content talk, but they are highly addictive, and most people end up watching more than one at a time. Amazon has a bestseller list that's dedicated to books that take less than 15 minutes to read. They actually have their Kindle short list, right? 15 minutes, 30-minute books, 60-minute books that take less than 90 minutes to read. And they're extremely popular. However, print book sales are up over 10% since 2013. So how is it that we can only hold our attention for 8 seconds, but we can still watch 12 hours of The Walking Dead in just a few days? So if you think about it this way, and this is really the key to the digital attention span, and it's why digital attention span is not synonymous with short attention span. And this is why. What's happened is people have become highly selective to the content that they are going to devote their attention to. So while this might mean that they pay little attention, maybe only 8 seconds, to the content that they end up filtering out, it also means that they engage and consume significantly longer the content that they let in. So rather than thinking about this as we've developed as consumers an 8-second attention span, it's better, and it's what a lot of really profitable and really smart companies have done, is they recognize this as an 8-second filter. Because consumers, and you don't even have to guess, because you and I, we're consumers. Think about it. You're bombarded daily with emails, social media, text messages, YouTube videos. Even the President of the United States, his preferred communication platform is Twitter. So some very dramatic and not so casual changes have occurred over the last 5 to 10 years on how we as consumers make decisions. So I want you to take just a second and go back in your mind, take 10 years back, right? Just 10 years. And if you look back 10 years ago and say 8 to 10 years ago, think about when you wanted to rent a video. What did you do? Chances are you went to a Blockbuster and you didn't just run in and pick a movie. You would spend sometimes hours sifting through that store, making a decision. You would walk up and down the aisles, looking at the movies, looking at the different categories, trying to make that decision on what you wanted to watch that night. And then you would actually spend the time to bring it back within 3 days or pay a fine. That seems almost absurd today, even though it was less than 10 years ago that we did this. Record stores. I remember the days when I would spend hours in a record store, just enjoying the experience of being around the music, listening to what they were playing in the store. Very rarely did you actually get to get samples of the music that you were looking at, but you would go through and you would look at the albums, the CDs, you would read the liner notes, you would look at the pictures, you would discover new artists. It was a completely different experience than what we have now. Record stores have pretty much become extinct. And even more recently, the bookstore. Probably within the last 5 to 8 years, you've actually spent an hour or more in a Barnes & Noble, reading books, sitting in the chair, drinking the coffee, looking through books, actually reading a good chunk of some of them to make a decision on whether or not you wanted to buy that or not. So you can see with those examples, this isn't something that happened gradually over 50 years. These are all things that have happened within the last 5 to 10 years. And it's changed. It had a huge impact on the way that consumers make their decisions. And in reality, Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, they're not only quite possibly responsible for this digital attention span, but they know very well how to appeal to it. They know how to market to the digital attention span, and they know exactly how the decision process has changed. The internet has overloaded us with choices. What we used to devote hours to filtering has been reduced to minutes and even seconds. And what that means to you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, is that the way that you attract customers has changed as well. So regardless of your business, regardless of the product or service that you are selling, the first step in doing that, in getting more customers and attracting more prospects, is getting past that 8-second filter. And once you do that, you can focus on creating a binge-worthy experience that keeps your customers coming back and even recommending you to their friends, to their family, and even strangers. And that's what digitalattentionspan.com is dedicated to. It's what this podcast is dedicated to. So if you like what you've heard so far, go ahead and subscribe. Jump over to Digital Attention Span. That's where you get access to tools, templates, and trainings that can help you navigate your way through this digital attention span economy. So stay tuned, because we're going to be evolving a lot of really cool ideas that can help your business tremendously. So until the next episode, remember, you are the only real game changer. Hey, this is Jack Mize, and I want to thank you for listening to the Digital Attention Span podcast. If you like what you heard, then jump over to digitalattentionspan.com/podcast and become a subscriber. Check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, YouTube, just about anywhere that you can hear podcasts. Give us a thumbs up, a like, leave a comment, review. Let us know what you think.